This year marks 2 decades since 9/11, the attacks on the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and a flight in Pennsylvania. On September 11, 2001, the United States witnessed the most lethal terrorist attacks in history. Nearly 3,000 people were lost. The tragedy ultimately led to changes in anti-terror approaches and operations in the U.S. and all around the world. Now we're at a point in time where the day has different significance and different content for many generations, including generations right here at 9 News. Anusha Roy and photojournalist Manny Sotelo join us now. They are obviously from different generations. Manny's more from mine, you not so much, but we're just going to talk a little bit. We're going to break down what happened. And why don't you start and talk about what you remember from when 9/11 happened?
Yeah, it was definitely one of those days where I visualize what that day was like. I was still in middle school at the time, and I remember my mom calling me over going, "Look at what happened." And I sat on the edge of her bed and we just watched the news coverage. And I remember that video of the plane crashing into the building and watching it over and over and over again. And as a kid, I was not quite 13 at that point, and I couldn't wrap my mind around what had happened, And then we went to school that day, and I was on the other coast. I was in Seattle at that point. And it was just this weird, teachers couldn't decide, do we talk to the kids about it? Do we try to continue the day as if, continue with our lessons plans or not? And then you come home and then you're trying to digest it with your family, and your parents are trying to explain to you what just happened to our country. And it was one of the most significant moments, as a middle schooler. I still remember that 20 years later, but I just remember being really confused as to why it happened and why it happened here. And I never imagined that it would happen to, my country and a place that I love so much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had the experience where I was on the air at the time. I was sitting in this chair, as a matter of fact, and when we got the word that something was going on, and we cut away to NBC for about an hour, but then we came back on to do local coverage. And so, as all of you know, when you're in professional mode, you're just kind of concentrating on getting the information out there, and you don't get too emotional about anything until it's over. And then that night I went home and thought about it, and I don't know if you had the same reaction, but it was like, man, what was that all about? What just happened? It was very emotional, but delayed because we were on TV.
Yeah, I was trying to get my kids ready for school, and was watching TV out of the corner of my eye when they broke in with a special report. As they were talking, the second plane goes into the building, and when you see it just from the corner of your eye, you say, "Did that just happen? Was that a plane?" That I knew something was happening, and that more than likely it was going to affect us here in Denver. So we needed to get out the door so I can drop them off at school and then come into work. So. Yeah, it was one of those
And a
days.
lot did happen in Denver. I mean, the biggest thing was probably they shut the airport down. They shut all of the airports down. But shutting down an airport is not an easy task, and they were getting all the flights out of the sky, and I know we sent a bunch of people to DIA to cover that. And then all the government buildings in town locked down. I mean, we didn't know what city it was coming to next. I was really surprised interviewing the people we interviewed for this special that a lot of people that are even younger than you, that weren't even born yet on 9/11 or were 2 or 3 years old, they don't know a lot about it. And they don't teach it in a lot of schools. I don't know.
I got the same feeling. And I don't know if the education system wants to dove into that or expand on it or what. I mean, the kids learn about World War II and Vietnam, but for some reason that's not taught in school, maybe because of the way it happened.
Yeah. I mean, I think some schools it is, but not all.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunate.
Really interesting to think about an entire generation where it hasn't influenced them in the same way that it's, even across generations, just at this table, it changed so much about our lives. So
Yeah, especially considering the war that day led to
Right.
is just ending right now.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
all these years later. Guys, thank you very much. I'm sure it's a day we're never going to forget. That's
Yeah.
for sure, no matter what age you are.